In this video, we are going to talk about flooring for correctional facilities.
The reason we're making this video is because flooring in minimum and in maximum security prisons and jails and other correctional facilities need to meet certain safety and health standards for both the incarcerated public, but as well as for the staff and then the visitors.
So Jerry, what are the main requirements for these floors in facilities like this?
I'd like to hit a couple actual bullet points. We can kind of talk about it in detail. It's easy to clean, it's slip resistant, bacteria and pathogen control, easy to install or repair with inmate labor, non-weaponizable. Basically it means you can't turn the floor or wall finish into a weapon.
Okay, so let's start with easy to clean. Elaborate on that for us.
Okay, well, Everlast Floor, it's a smooth finish with a texture built in from the marble chips. And so you have some slip resistance that way, but at the same time it's smooth and seamless, so it's easy to clean. And we just recommend a deck brush and squeegee and push the water down the drain. Don't even have to mop the floor. So for this type of facility, it's the perfect floor because it's so easy to clean. And it doesn't stay dirty as long because of the nature of the floor.
Yeah, that sounds really quick and simple. I mean,
absolutely.
I could do it.
Correctional facilities need to be easy to be cleaned in areas like bathrooms, showers, kitchens. All these areas you're running either food or you're running, you have inmates taking showers. It's got to be a very sanitary surface. Hitting on his point about being easy to clean, which is so important in those areas. It actually, any type of soil, dirt, fats from kitchens, fats from cooking in kitchens, doesn't absorb into the substrate, so it makes it very easy to wash away.
So before we get to this next part, I just want to ask a question. Being a state or federal facility, they're probably actually more strict. So being that your product is passing all these requirements, you guys are like top notch, just from a biased point of view.
Right, yeah, because we actually, our floor is approved by, for use in a food service by the FDA. As a matter of fact, the FDA even has our floor in some of their services, Environmental Protection Agency as well. They actually buy our floor, so it does meet some of these standards.
That's a great seal of approval there. Well, let's go to the next part here. What about slip resistance? I know that that's good for safety reasons, or I guess you guys could probably tell me a little bit more.
As it relates to prison facilities or correctional facilities, having non-slip is actually a very important part. You've got both the shower areas, which they use quite often in those, or even in, of course, the kitchens. We go back to the kitchens. They're going to be the same thing as like a regular commercial kitchen. They're going to have grease, they're going to have water, and this is a constant all-day thing.
Plus the floor is wet a lot of the time.
Absolutely.
Both in the kitchen and like in the showers, the floors are always wet, and we don't want people slipping and falling in there.
We've seen a lot of prisons that have used this in showers. In fact, it's probably one of our largest customer bases as far as correctional facilities. And a lot of them have used them up the shower walls, I think 6 feet, 8 feet sometimes. And they've done this themselves. In many cases, they've had their own labor do it. Not in every case, but in a lot of them, they've used their own labor, skilled labor within the prison.
So I know you guys have some built-in factors to your flooring. Where does this lead into bacteria and pathogen control?
Yeah, well, see, unfortunately today, some of the prisons are overcrowded. You have 1 or 2 or 3 people, I think they call it double celling or triple celling. And so they're overcrowded, and so the possibility for bacteria and germs and viruses to grow is it's kind of a big deal over there. So it's good to have a floor. See, our floors actually have an antimicrobial component inside the floor that is actually built in, and it's not just on the glaze coat on top. It actually goes all the way down. The whole floor itself has it, so that these bacteria can't actually eat up at the floor and such. And plus, it's easier to clean off.
I think a lot of times people read our literature, especially as it relates, in this case, I guess, to correctional facilities, and that would be showers. You'll get an odor with a lot of the traditional methods over time. With this, there's literally none. We've had people come back to us years later and said there's still no smell, and we've used it basically on a daily.
Yeah, like even in the restrooms, like underneath the urinals,
very important.
Oftentimes the floor gets eaten up by acids and things like that, and there's a stench that just never goes away. Well, with our floor, we don't have that problem. It lasts, it's easy to clean. The floor fights back against the bacteria and things like that.
So is it easy to install or repair? Can you use inmate labor?
Absolutely, and they have too. A couple of our facilities, even some of the larger ones, they've installed it both on the floors, up the walls. We're talking 6 feet sometimes. So yes, absolutely. And it can be repaired too very well. It's seamless. So if you were to repair just a spot, that spot would actually mend or vulcanize to the surrounding area, like say the surrounding epoxy floor, and it becomes seamless once again, which means also waterproof and antimicrobial. Yeah, I would definitely say it saves time, it saves money, and also there's vetting people to bring them into the correctional facility. That's also really important. We do have some certified installers that certainly could help them out, but there's always the money aspect. We just priced out a project where they were, going to buy a pretty large amount of the stuff, and I don't think they're planning on using a certified installer for budgetary reasons. I mean, it's a significant amount, so you always run into the money aspect. You're allotted a certain amount of money per year. If they're using labor from within, whether it's facility employees or even prisoners, skilled labor, it still wouldn't affect the overall durability and functionality of the floor. We do have a pretty easy how-to video, and a lot of them will watch that and install it without any training from us other than the video itself.
Plus, we do have a network of dealers that can install it, and the nice thing about our floor, it's a very minimal amount of tools. So if they have to bring in outside people, there's a lot less tools to check in and back out. And I know if you're doing tile, you have the nippers and all the different kinds of cutters, and then the wet saw and the mix and drill, and there's so many different tools, utility knives that you have to check in and check out. Not to mention the broken pieces of tile that you have to make sure you carry out with you.
Very important.
With ours, you have buckets. You can even take the handles off the buckets. So you can have buckets with no handles. You can have just a minimal couple of trowels that you bring in with you, bring out with you. If you leave excess material behind, it gets hard inside a bucket and you've got nothing you can do with it other than throw it away. It's not like broken tiles.
You mentioned the broken tiles. I think that's probably been one of the biggest things that people have asked us when we're talking correctional facilities, because it can be used as a weapon. And the Everlast cannot be. It actually becomes part of the substrate instead of something you can simply chip off. It's thick. It can be used to stab somebody, which is a big deal there.
So you guys have said if you can follow basic instructions, you can pretty much install your Everlast floors.
That is correct.
That's correct. We have a simple how-to video that helps them with that too.
Yeah. You guys mentioned non-weaponizable, which means you can't turn the floor into a weapon. I can definitely understand how that's important in a prison or inmate situation. Can you just maybe tell us a little bit more about that?
From my experience, just talking actually to the facility managers that contact us about this type of floor, they've said that they've had problems in the past with people chipping off pieces of tile and actually creating some problems.
Even like with sheet rubber floors, they can peel back some of the sheet rubber, and you can attach things. You can attach sheets to it and stuff and turn it into something that you can pull with, and so that's why it's good to have like a seamless floor that's just stuck down all the way.
See, one of the things with our floors, because it doesn't have an adhesive like say rubber floors or tile floors, if it becomes part of the substrate, there's virtually no way to pull it off. Whereas thin set, a piece of tile can simply be chipped off of that. Rubber, it's glued down in many cases, so it can be pulled off.
So once you put your floor down, it's one solid piece, like here, and it can't be pulled up, which is the main concern at these facilities.
Absolutely. Kind of expounding on that a little bit too is, if you're in a prison facility, there's no reason why they would want to redo this thing again in 10, 15, 20 years, 30 years. In fact, they probably never want to do it again if they can. And really, water doesn't hurt our floor, foot traffic doesn't hurt our floor, and so tile situation, or maybe even some of that rubber floor, or some of the other types of epoxy floors, is a continuous maintenance item, whether they're replacing the whole thing or they're replacing parts of it. The Everlast could be a very much so a permanent solution for them.
Well, from all that you guys have said, it really sounds like if you're doing an industrial or correctional big facility, that you need to have Everlast as your top priority choice. Hey guys, if you like this video and would like to learn more, we would love to send you a sample and answer any questions you might have. Just visit our website or be sure to give us a call.